should have been here last.
Oh, come on. Okay.
Hi, puppy.
My service dog.
All right, I'd like to welcome everybody to the College of Complexes tonight. My name is Tim. I'll be moderating and running the Zoom tonight. Tonight's speaker is Daniel Herlihy, and he's remote from Dallas area in Texas. And the format of the college is as follows. First, we'll have our speaker, Daniel, who will speak for up to about an hour. Then we'll have questions and answers, and then we'll have our infamous rebuttal period. We have to finish up by 7:30 in the College of Complexes because of the restaurant closing at 8 o'clock. There are two rules to the college. One is no personal attacks, and the second is one fool at a time. With that, Charlie, I'm going to let you start the announcements.
All right, bring up the schedule.
Of course.
Julius Caesar assassination.
Fergus, no.
All right, we're getting there, Charlie. Okay, Charlie, go ahead. All right, Charlie, it's up.
All right. Welcome, everyone, to meeting number 3,851 of the College of Complexes, the playground for people who think. Now, although I'm not a capitalist, I will give an advertisement for our upcoming programs. Next Saturday, we will welcome Debbie Pelichek, Democratic candidate for the Illinois General Assembly, the state representative. She says she doesn't just talk about change, she gets to work and make it happen, just like I do. See you next Saturday for Debbie Pelichek. Transitioning then to January 31st. Scroll up, please. Okay. Our own Stanfield Smith, who's an expert on Central and South American affairs, spoken on many occasions at the college. As a matter of fact, he's just recently taken a trip down there. But this is a topic out in the news. The U.S. threat to overthrow the Venezuelan revolution on just January 31st.
Hey.
Transitioning then to February. We have a gentleman who's an activist, served in the state legislature in Iowa, but he marched across America for social change. He had a Save America March. So we'll welcome the gentleman, Ed Fallon. I get his emails all the time, February 7th. After that, we'll skip a couple dates and we'll welcome our own. He's there this evening. The professor, Bob Lichtenberg. We'll talk about the God question, arguments for and against the existence of God. Always an interesting topic of which everyone has views. Anyhow, thank you, Tim. Take it away.
Okay.
You got some.
All right, hang on here, man. All right, I'd like to welcome Daniel Herlihy up to the platform. Daniel, you're online, and the podium is now yours. I'm going to mute everybody else in the Zoom so we can hear Daniel clearly. I'll leave my mic open. With that, Dan, go ahead and start speaking.
Thank you, Jim. Hello, Charles, Joseph, Sam, Norma. You almost got my name right, but officially it would be, my English name is Daniel James O'Herlihy, but really it's Donald Seamus O'Herlihy, but You almost got it there, Tim, but I thought I'd correct you on that. Hey, so good to see everybody. I think public forums are really good. Let's talk about authority. I'm going to talk about supplements, but shall we talk about authority? Because everybody has an opinion and they're not necessarily entitled to them. This is the problem with the internet. Anybody could say anything, but what authority do I have to speak about supplements?
Good show.
Well,
This is where anything goes now.
what authority? Well, I actually did work in a like a good whole paycheck place. We call it in Texas. We call it Whole Foods whole paycheck. A really very good smaller food store with heavy supply and supplements. Very, very, very active in the health thing. So I know my supplements pretty well. I did an undergraduate at the University of Dallas. We concentrated on the 100 great books of the Western civilization. I know that. Then I went to 2.5 years of medical microbiology on the master's level. So we'll be talking about the biome. Muy importante. A lot of supplements are directed that direction. Went to medical school, family practice. And now I do some physical and medicine rehab in the body work, osteopathic type of work. So, and I also had a major brain injury. Major. 92% disabled mentally. And I had to come back from a place that was, I couldn't really speak, talk, walk, eat in front of people, read, write. So supplements were important, as is other ways to get one's brains back. But if you have any, well, I guess you can't bike it. But so let me tell you some basic things that I know as a family practice, trained in family practice, that I'm going to have to say that is really important. Here's a couple rules for being happy and living a long time. You need to sleep 8 hours, super important. Lots and lots and lots. Dr. Amen came in. He's an interesting guy. We work with him in California. 85. He's like the guy he's on public radio. 85,000 MRIs. He just made a statement about how important sleep is. Now, when you sleep, make sure you have REM sleep. You got to be dreaming, because that's when your mind is telling you what you want to get rid of and what to keep. That's important. Movement is important. I don't say exercise, but movement, because it's just absolutely essential. Okay, you need to circulate. You need to get fluids moving. That would be blood, interstitial fluids, air. When people are active, I go to the Planet Fitness here. It's open 24 hours. I don't have any excuses, and they let my dog get on the treadmill with me. My service dog. So and I take a book, and about 2 hours go by, and I can't, oh, wow. So swimming, by the way, is very good, because it's not weight bearing for the joints. And my specialty is sort of geriatric pain management, them being the muscle and joint crowd. Okay, I'll also say plant-based diet. Okay, the blue zone. So this is well proven. You don't have to be a crazy vegan. If eating is so psychiatrically stressful for you, but plant-based diet. Okay, I know this. I mean, I have cardiovascular surgeons. They're opening this cardiovascular stuff, and it's just clogged with stuff. Plant-based diet is good. Don't be crazy about it. Protein, very important. Plant-based, but you got to do your beans or whatever. You got to get the pea protein. That has to be very high, or you get sarcopenia at my age, which means you're losing muscle. My father-in-law can't lift up the iron skillet anymore. Okay, let's see. Whole foods, sleep, movement, swimming, weight bearing, plant-based. Okay, you need to. I'll recover all this at the end. Your biome, your gastrointestinal thing. You really need to keep that in shape. This is really important, especially as a microbiologist. Your B12 is made in your colon, and your serotonin, the happy molecule, most of it is made in your gut. You don't have that, you're not a happy person. Then you're on antidepressants, which I'm not too fond of. Fermented food is really good. Don't forget fermented foods. that you want to get your biome fermented foods. That's kind of how you do it. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Here's a couple more. Everybody knows this, but chronic stress in men, the studies are on men, by the way. So chronic stress kills it kills your cortisol level is great. You get up in the morning, cortisol level's high, you're energized, but it's kind of like adrenaline, and it keeps you running through the whole day. That's a killer. You're burning up all kinds of things which you need. I get up and I have 100 units of energy, and I use them sparingly. But cortisol is, it's like adrenaline, but it's also a high anti-inflammatory thing. You do not. You want to get the definition of old is becoming oxidated and inflamed. I'm Irish. Here's a note for Irish people. We have high inflammatory rates. This is not good. When I have my head injury, it took me. I didn't recover. I was getting worse. Why so? Well, a quantitative EEG read by some big old docs. I'm a doctor, so I throw it around and they treat me pretty well. I had 20% inflammation, which is like it's like an encephalitis from the little mosquitoes. Okay. You cut inflammation down as much as possible. This is why people jump in the cold baths and stuff like that, but cut your inflammation down, and we'll get off this in a second. Social isolation is a killer. I was ready to suicide because I had been demented, completely demented, 5 surgeries, chronic pain. Nobody wants to deal with a demented person. So guess what? They abandon you and you become homeless, and then you want to kill yourself because things aren't good. And my Parkland doctor down here in Texas said, hey, I've got a bunch of VA guys who have PTSD and head injuries. Get a service dog and bond with it. And in 3 months, he will not sign the homicide contract. So my first dog actually saved me from suicide. They're really good to get out. So my dog would get me out to the local Starbucks, and people would talk to my dog. I would remember what they're saying, run it through my head, and that's how I learned how to speak. But older men, because everyone got really problems. So, but we promise you, hold on, let me just, okay. So I want to run you through, I hope, first of all, I'm going to run through this as brief as I can, and then we can get questions. So you can, I think I can answer them, but let me tell you the brief history of the regulation of supplements. I'm really glad I get to really study this because I was a lot of fresh information. So previous to 1915, there wasn't much out there. There was, hold on, let me look at my notes. But there was not. It was kind of homegrown stuff, herbs, local herbal people. Well, the medicine, this isn't supplements, but the medicine were, morphine, bloodletting, and opium, or cocaine. But there was, it was kind of country-ish and, herbs and stuff like that, not much. So there's herbal remedies, cod liver oil was around, iron tonics and yeast tablets. I'm sure, does anybody remember Geritol with iron? Does anybody remember Geritol?
There's more salad too, but not a lot.
Right. It was a big one. Geritol is not that good for you because it's iron and men can't take iron. But having said that, so before 1825, 1875, 1850, people didn't actually know much about food. But when they started to discover vitamins, okay, so Dr. Fletcher discovered B1, which helped beriberi. Big deal. Oh, vitamins, what are these things? James Lind, doctor, just found out when he isolated vitamin C that it could cure scurvy. So you all heard the stories of guys, people on the ships going back and forth. They didn't have any limes. So that's why you call British people limeys. Although as an Irish person, I sometimes call them other things, but we won't go into that. That war's over and we can move on. So that's why they call me limes. Okay. So about 1933, things got they were developing. I mean, scientists are in their labs. Butter, they decided, had a fat soluble vitamin A. This fat soluble. Okay, soluble. So that's a big thing. Soluble inside. So when you eat vitamin C, or if you eat take a general minerals, you're going to pee it all out. Okay, because it's water. A, K, E, D is fat soluble. It stays in the tissues, like you pot smokers out there. Warning, warning. So if they stay, so they can build up. So in Texas, we had a mumps outbreak or something like that. And so people were going to, on their own, take vitamin C. Of course, they ended up in the emergency room because it builds up. You can't pee it out. A, K, E, and D. Okay. Let's see what else we got. Oh, okay. So once you discover that there's vitamins, then you can market them. Okay. So in 1930, they started to add vitamins to food, which isn't such a bad idea because you see, you're starting to get processed food. So they're putting whatever vitamin D, I guess, in milk and such. That's not a bad idea, but you're seeing vitamins and vitamins, supplement, and food like milk coming together, right? That's kind of the first time we're looking at processed food. And what I'm going to do is kind of run through this as quickly as we can so we can get to the questions. But I thought the background was fascinating. And you can't really understand the latest legislation until you do. Okay, so 1922, another Dr. Bishop found vitamin D in leafy vegetables, and that does actually protect against free radicals. Okay, so what is this crazy stuff? So oxidation, let me try to explain that to you. You have a molecule, okay, you have the nucleus, and then around that is electrons, okay? Well, the loss of electrons, and I know that I don't want to get too complicated, is oxidation. So if you have an electron come in and bounce a couple electrons off, that's not a molecule anymore. It reconfigures because it's a magnetic structure, okay? So now you don't have a molecule. You make me that molecule, right? Especially if that molecule is an enzyme, because enzyme takes chemical A and makes it into chemical B. So if A is like a precursor to testosterone, and a cofactor comes in like a vitamin and makes it into testosterone, well, that's great stuff because, well, you're incredible in bed, like not like myself, but there's people. Okay. Let's go to so big landmark, 1940, multivitamins and multi-mineral supplements are introduced to the marketplace, and not as food supplements, as like So that was kind of, especially after post-World War II, people had some extra money. They wanted to be helpful. And especially, World War II, World War I, oh my God, you had lots of problems because people weren't in World War II, they weren't brushing their teeth. This was killing people. This is literally killing people in the trenches. So you get this modernization of hygiene, including vitamins. So this is coming along. Let's see, where am I? Right. So you're getting it kind of not with milk, just like here's a bottle of vitamin A, right? Completely unregulated at this time. So do we all know Linus Pauling? He got the Nobel Prize laureate for I think it's specifically for vitamin C work, which he claimed it is a great antioxidant, but it does not cure the cold. Just an example to note. There's a lot of products out there that says they got vitamin C and it cures the cold, right? It doesn't work. That's doesn't, but it's a great antioxidant. Where else are we? So in 47, they actually could start to synthesize A, B, vitamin E, vitamin K. And once you start doing this on a mass scale, boom, you get the first health food stores, okay? As the precursors to GNC, let's say, okay? And they have, by the way, synthetic vitamins. This is very important. You have the cold press, who is it? Blue Bonded products down here are cold pressed. Okay, so take a bunch of fruits, They press it and they extract the vitamins out. Okay. Those are not synthetic vitamins. Those are natural vitamins. But when they're synthetic, apparently the research says that a vitamin C, natural synthetic, made into chemistry is the same. But just keep that in mind. The problem with that is these things don't act alone. Okay. People say take B. I had an orthopedic surgeon tell me take B6 for neurological conduction. Bees don't work alone. You need they need their helpers, all the other bees. Does that make sense? So, in nature, there's kind of we've developed over hundreds of thousands, maybe millions years. Everything works together synergistically. That's really important. And while I'm saying about it, here's the other point. Genetically, we've been doing things for a long time. We're kind of used to the environment. Our genetics are very clever and they pick up things and they can handle problems. But when you have a catastrophic change, we go from working on a farm and using many muscles, many parts of the body, lifting, sitting, whatever, to the industrial situation. Of course, genetically, you can't do this. You can't turn a bolt all the time, right? I had patients coming in from GM, General Motors, and of course they need narcotics to get through their last 5 years so they could retire, because that's just not how you're supposed to work. But it's very much true, because we're getting on the 50s and, oh man, food scientists, you got to study these guys. Okay. I was shocked at this. Okay. When you have synthetic food, it's only designed to sell. So it has to have maximum flavor immediately. That's it. No nutritional value, none of that stuff, but it has to make you feel great. McDonald's, that's not food. That's food-like products, right? That taste really good and are addictive. And the good news is McDonald's is no longer cheap. So all the lower socioeconomic people aren't going anymore. This has caused a giant problem with the CEO was on the other day blaming poor people for not having enough money. But that's another thing. Are we up? Are we keeping up here? I want to see some yeses. Oh, Norma, how about you, Joseph? You keep it up here? You got this? How about that Kelvin guy, huh? Okay. Okay. So let's go.
From the Lamy, when you were talking about synthetic vitamins as opposed to natural ones, and the chemists say there's no difference. Does that go for the same for synthetic morphine and synthetic insulin?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
I'll answer that when the question time comes. Got to get up through a little bit more. But you said vitamins, so I assume that you're from somewhere over in the UK. Okay, so the big thing in 75 was the Proximate Amendment. It exempted, this is really big. Not as big as what's coming, but this is pretty big. Okay.
Yeah.
It exempts dietary supplements from regulation as drugs. Big move. Okay. Drugs, highly, highly, highly regulated. I know because I was in a million researchers. I had an ADHD, and I think they tried 6 drugs on me, but this takes millions. This is a lot. Okay. And some antidepressants. It's millions of dollars, right? An awful lot of money. So, but this is a move towards saying all the supplements, which are enormous amounts, they're not drugs. So the FDA is not going to be able to regulate them. Okay. It's getting more and more that way, but let's see what else we got. So in 1985, the government said, we got a problem. So the Food and Drug Administration can't regulate them, okay, but they can research them and keep the information to everybody, which is a damn good idea. I love the NIH, National Institute of Health, more on that later. So they established the Center for Food Safety and Applied Nutrition to centralize efforts to food safety, nutrition, and labeling regulations. And what they're looking for, is it safe? Is it safe and is it labeled? Now, this is a big deal, okay? because I don't know about you, but I remember when food wasn't labeled and supplements wasn't labeled. You didn't know what the hell you're getting. But you go to the grocery store now, and it's really cool because it's got everything there. And I can even, I even know that the price of this per ounce and the price of this per ounce is very easy to determine. Before that, you had to sit there with a calculator. Very difficult. Big move. Now we're labeling stuff. Still not controlling them, but labeling them. Okay. All right. That was 1985. The NIH, by the way, National Institute, and I used to live in DC. It's a really interesting, lovely place. I've been to Gaithersburg, where these, the NIH and all these other places. They're pretty impressive places, and I'm very impressed that we have these, because the NIH, National Institute of Health, is not for this country. It's for every scientist in the world and every country. Okay, you can look up anything. Okay, in fact, if I'm going to publish a paper on headache and manual therapy, that's where I go to see who else did it and how far along the research is, so I can further it, or if I'm on the right track. Okay, so we got 1985, and we could all, I could tell most of us remember that year. I graduated from medical school. 1993. Okay, this was a really, I was very, very excited. I'm my training is osteopathic medicine. We're not, there's allopaths, MDs, osteopaths, DOs. We're trained for more general stuff. Okay, so we had a wider view of things: family, geriatrics, peds, OB/GYN. So we do use a lot of, my training is, I'm out in Texas, West Texas, and there's no doctor I'm the only doctor in the county. The next doctor may be 200 miles away. Of course, we're going to do what's practical. I don't have time. My brother, who's an MD, Harvard, runs ICUs. He doesn't do it unless there's 500 research articles, because they're kind of like, right? They're not out of the box thinkers. But we're very practical. So I like the alternative medicine, which just means you go there for stuff that MDs would have no idea. There's very few MDs that I prescribe these things, right? With the caveat that in my opinion, the really good doctors who've been, working for maybe 20 years and they know what they're doing, they don't want to deal with insurance. It's a big headache. And they don't think it helps their patients. So what do? They work for a boutique practice. And they charge money, but they tend to be really good. They're way out of the box, not way out of the box, but I worked for Dr. Costanzas. He was really interesting. He had a dietitian, a nurse to explain things, microcurrent. I was doing the body work, and he was kind of running the show. For instance, how did he treat cancer? He treated cancer with the same medications, but in different doses, so that the people could continue to work. If you're a cancer patient, the first thing they do is see what the load of cancer, what the load of toxins you can survive. So they give you this dose, and you sleep for a week. I hope you wake up. But that's their approach. No, but so there's other ways. So the alternate medicine NIH is really nice. And by the way, so white papers. Let me explain white papers. They're white papers because they're black and white, terribly boring. Not something I would recite to a girlfriend or something like that if I wanted to make a spicy evening. It took me 2 years to even read these things. In medical school, I tried to read my first semester. It's like, well, I wish I spoke more Latin or Greek or whatever this language. It looks like English, doesn't seem to be. But I was really surprised. The alternate medicine is really simple to read. Okay. Because it's not read for physicians or PhDs. It's read for the general public. So that's where you want to go. Okay. Whatever, yoga, magnesium, just everything. It's a great. And by the way, who the hell is going to research magnesium? I mean, if you're putting the money into research magnesium, why the hell would you? To get it okayed by the FDA. It's going to cost millions of dollars, and you're not going to make it up because it's freely available, right? So you're not, right? So it's important to see, well, a lot of these studies, for instance, come from socialized countries like Germany or Ireland or Sweden, because the government's doing the work. They get to keep the info. They have really, so they have great stuff on stuff you would never, they have research on things that cut their budget, right? They know instead of giving a sleeper to a patient, okay, which like Ambien, which destroys your REM sleep, okay, so you're not dreaming. That's why you become psychotic, and you know, senators drive into fountains in DC. Well, let's try this magnesium thing. Oh, it works. Good. Okay, it's cheap. We solved a difficult problem with something available. You see what I'm saying here? Yeah, NIH is a really good place, and it's got, you know, I do body work, cranial sacral. I do stuff that's kind of a little far out, and they know all about it. Okay, the big one. You ready? 1994. This is the occasion of a complete. I used to live in DC. My friends worked for the government, CIA. It's like this. You just buy you just buy stuff, right? You just buy them, right? Senator, what's his name? I'll remember in a second. He's in Utah, which is Mormon city, and his son had a big company, and he was a herbal supplement company, and he's a senator in DC. Well, what do you think? Okay. He instituted the DSHEA, Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act, defines dietary supplements as a category of food and established the regulations for their safety, labeling, and health claims, and mandates FDA to demonstrate that a dietary supplement is unsafe rather than the required pre-approved market. Okay, this is the formalization of, okay, these are food. No need to prove anything about them. No need to weigh them. No need to make sure there's something in there. No need for nothing. Okay. Not even strict regulation on the label. You could put anything you want down there, which is important because to my shock, maybe I should say this a little later, but to my shock, there's an awful lot of supplements that have either zero or too much, or something that they didn't label that might be dangerous. Okay, we'll get back that. We'll talk about that in a minute. But 1994, the DSHEA, big change. 5,000 distributors of supplements before 80,000 distributors afterwards. Okay. Not too sure everybody has the integrity that they might want to have, but the year after, I guess I guess Congressman may feel shame. Of course not. But the year after, they said, well, we better do something because this is going to get crazy. They established the Office of Dietary Supplements at NIH to strengthen the knowledge and understanding of dietary supplements by evaluating scientific information and stimulating and support research. In other words, they spent a bunch of money on people that just research and check stuff. Okay, totally unregulated. They want to know how, you know, how to even approach this. Does this stuff even work? Okay, and if it does, how do we see if it's actually in the products? And they had an okay technique, see if I can remember this big word, electrogas chromatology, which I used to use when in the lab, but they're kind of cumbersome and they're hard to read and it takes a long time. Very, very cumbersome. But at least they were moving in the right direction, right? So 95 isn't that long ago. But 95 is an interesting time in history because Reagan passed from dementia and the government said, holy schmoly, this is an expensive disease, right? It's about 50,000 minimum per year to take care of a demented person, and that's on Medicare, right? So things sort of, I was happy because I wanted to be a psychiatrist, and when I went on a psychiatric rotation, In med school, I didn't see much to it. And in the lectures, this is a medical school. The psychiatrist would be reciting poetry. Okay, where's the science here? We got any medicines for these people? What the hell's going on? So anyway, as an aside, because brain health and heart health, a lot of supplements, it's real important we get our brains together. Okay, and there's psychiatry is now impossible to get into because it's extremely prestigious. Because now they have all kinds of ways to fix things, including ketamine. Yahoo! Actually, ketamine is now over the counter. Not over the counter, but it's now a prescription you could do nasally. So keep up. Here we go. Almost finished. 97. Oh, this is interesting. How you regulated supplements is that nobody got killed. We know that people are taking this for 100 years. No one's dead yet. Okay, but if there's a new thing, Abbott, okay, turmeric, okay, but if you put something like some crazy thing, just to figure it, something X, okay, let's say black pepper, okay, not really, but and they put it with the turmeric. Oh, that's something new that we've never seen before. So that they have to give at least 75 days to the NIH to look at it. And they may just say, nope, can't do that. So they're getting a little more picky. The stuff that hasn't killed people is okay. New stuff, we don't know. So you need to talk to us before you do that. And that's really interesting. This will all come together because well, I'll tell you when I finish this, I'm going to tell you some real life examples that might make it easy. 2002. Oh, this is really good. The public health security and bioterrorism preparedness. The commies are coming after us. Oh my God, those Chinese people are trying to kill us. They're going to put something in the water and be dead. This is really interesting. I actually have an old friend who works for the CIA. He's triple certified, so he works with all. And his thing is Chinese security. He's not happy with those guys. But the idea was if something comes into the country in a large scale and it's poisonous and it's from China, they want to be able to follow the chain down to who did this and why and what and ever. Okay. So the chain supply link was heavily followed and documented. Something went wrong, you're gonna arrest somebody and figure out what's going on. Does that make sense? We have a free market system, so hey. In 2007, and today you have the good manufacturing practices. So that'll be on the label of a supplement. Okay, that ensures some safety. Make sense? Okay. The other thing is. I do think fish is really good for you. It's an anti-inflammatory, and it's the fat in fish is the same in brain cells. The brain is basically looks like Jello, right? That's really important. You want to make new brain cells, eat fish. Small fish, by the way. Larger fish have a chance of having more mercury, but yeah, that's important. Oh, so let's do a real life example. Nordic Naturals, I like because they're way up there, Norway, way up there, and they're fishing way away from land islands, way up in the middle of the sea, where mercury levels are low. But they triple certify it. They test it. An independent lab test it, another independent lab test it, and they have all that on their bottles, which they charge a little more for. And so that's important. Is it triple certified? Okay, let's see what else we got. Okay, let's see. At 2010, what's happening is manufacturing is getting really good, okay? And they are really jamming this stuff out. So you go from a couple of people in a small industrial warehouse to mega stuff, right? Mega production. So it's coming out your full force $50 billion mark. $50 billion mark in the US. Lots of money. And of course, follow the money. Always. Don't believe anything. Follow the money. Almost finished, kids. Oh, so this is interesting. 2012 adverse event reporting. So this is the latest, the semi-latest thing. Okay. Now, if you're breaking the law and dealing coke, no one's going to hash you until someone makes a complaint. Then the cops come. They come because there was a complaint, right? In my case, they just came and busted me. But in other words, it was all, we'll wait for a complaint and then we'll check it. Some of these organizations are very small. I mean, like 25 people, they got the government, not a lot. But this is how they now respond to problems, okay? And that's important because there was one product, I can't remember it, but people were pretty quickly, people were losing their livers. That's a big deal. Okay. Now, why is that a big deal? Because they're losing their livers. And when they got to about 25, they said, okay, we got enough reports, we're going to shut this down. But you got to think of the repercussions. People that need livers are a real burden on the medical system. Okay. When they lose their insurance, Medicaid's going to pick this up very expensive. Might cost $100,000 to $200,000 to $250 to put that liver in. That's a drain on the system. So there's all kinds of things you can look at. Let's see. I'll tell you some specific things too. Okay. 2 years ago. Okay. Basically, 2 years ago, all these things came together to coordinate. So they're kind of territorial in the government. Like the FBI doesn't talk to CIA, and the FSA doesn't talk to anybody. So they decided they were going to all come together and share information. That would be the FDA, Human Foods Program, CFSAN, the Office of Food Policy and Response, and the Regulatory Affairs. So the point is that they're all sharing information, so they had a better picture. And that's kind of what we're looking at today, right? So let me give you some examples of this. There's some real bad actors out there. I remember, this is in the 70s. There's a dietary supplement, but a friend of mine said it helped him lose weight. I didn't think anything about supplements. It was Ma Wang. He said, but don't take it. Take it with breakfast. Big breakfast. Take this dose. Well, I didn't think it was going to do anything. I took it at night and it was up for 3 days. It's an analog of speed, right? So it was great if you wanted to get homework done. But, I'm glad I didn't take a second dose, right? Especially somebody older. That's a real cardiac burden. Ephedrine, that's not good. That's in a lot of things. Bad for the heart. Fen-phen, I have prescribed this is on the medical side of things. I don't know if you know fen-phen. I prescribed too much of that. And yeah, it came back that it's ruining people's hearts. So my friends were not too happy about me, but I didn't know. So let's see what other interesting things we'll talk. So basically, how there's a lot of ways. There's so much money on this. Okay. I used to sell neurological equipment because I had a head injury, and I would go to these really expensive doctor functional medicine clinics, and you'd see all these guys like the Garden of Life people. They were all there, and I was shocked they were kids. And but there's just lots of money out there. So these I met these Garden of Life guys. They were just maybe 23, 24, and they were just starting out. And I would see them. I would do this every couple of years. We'd run into them every year, and they got bigger and bigger and bigger until I see them everywhere. And they were about money. So anyway, what other things? So let me give you let's see how this plays out. Let's take the weightlifting crowd. Okay, Joe Weider stuff. Man, that was dangerous as hell, right? I don't know if you know Joe Weider building. Okay, first built supplements for bodybuilders. Well, people loved them. If you're going to sell a product, you're going to have to get a bang. Okay, If you sell erection dysfunctional medicine, you want that guy hard in 15 minutes and ready to go. Otherwise, yeah, I'm not waiting an hour. They want the initial effect. So if you're selling Joe Weider supplements, you want someone to be big and strong in a week. So he sees it and says, hey, this works. Okay. Well, you only get that by putting testosterone in it or lookalike molecules, right? So when you get busted for putting the testosterone in, then you talk to your chemist and say, can you play with this? And they give you another chemical that works just as well, or they take testosterone, put a carbon on it, okay? And they see if it works. Oh, it works really good, but it's not testosterone. And it's going to be harder to show up in a test when they're testing it, except for, I believe it was last year, or maybe 2.0. What they're doing today, like really today, is they're using DNA analysis, which is pretty foolproof and takes a couple minutes. They take a pill. Does it have turmeric in it? Let's look for the DNA of turmeric, right? So it's a better deal. It's a better deal. So anyway, so the guys that lift the weights, I used to be one of those guys, but I used to do all that stuff. But it's not so good for you. I mean, if you don't know what you're doing and you're trying to get big and you take too much of that stuff, my testicles are this big, right? But they're going to shrink. They're going to shrink really small because there's no feedback loop, right? They're not working, okay? They don't need to work. Somebody else is doing the job. That's a problem. So when you stop the meds, your testicles are about the size of marbles and they're not working. And to get them to work, you got to go talk to an endocrinologist who has to prescribe really strange things, luteinizing hormone, follicle stimulator, to cycle them into working again, right? It's a major problem, right? Not to mention, well, there's other problems like rage and stuff like that. But that's what I saw. So after my motor vehicle accident, I massive head injury, and I had my hypothalamic pituitary hypothalamic pituitary axis that makes testosterone was gone. I didn't make any testosterone, right? And I had to reconstruct my body because I had a lot of surgeries. So I had real low levels. So my osteopathic physician, yay, family practice, osteopath, said, okay, here's your you want testosterone? Okay, how would you like to take it? Wait, I'll show you how to take it. You don't take it by shot. See, when you take the shot, for instance, like all the builders, your testosterone goes, okay? So at this point, it's maximally working and your libido is the size of quite high. And then it goes down. That's not an effective way to take it. So the more effective way at that time was to get at a certain amount and you would squeeze it on your 3 pumps, right? And then rub that in. And you did it every day. So the levels were pretty constant, which is good, right? You can control the medicine. Today, it's even better. In fact, it's a huge industry, okay? They put them in time-release capsules underneath your skin. And they're very effective. Yeah, they're very effective. Especially for menopausal women, they love them, right? They're great. There's a lot of problems with menopause, and they're great. And by the way, they do have testosterone for women, and they love it. So, if I think of something else, some personal space. So, what kind of questions first of all, did everybody get that? If you didn't, just ask me questions or bring up your own questions.
All right, so you're done then?
I am, but let me just grab some more water so I can wet my whistle. Hold on.
All right, Joe, I know you got a question. I don't know about people here, but I'm gonna remove. Okay, he'll be right there. All right, Joe, you're gonna go first. We'll see him in just a minute as soon as he gets back with his water. And all right.
Back again.
Okay, Joe, are you ready? Go ahead with your question.
Yeah, how's my sound?
It's fine.
Okay, I have a lot of really specific questions, so I hope you
Oh
don't
my God,
mind.
let me get the paper.
Sure. I'd appreciate if you allow me a couple two-part questions because my girlfriend is in the supplement
Ah,
business and
I'll
teach me
do
a
what
lot
I
about
can. I'll do what
her.
I
So
can.
first off, you called a substance an analog of speed. What were you talking about? Sudafed or something?
Say again.
You called a substance an analog of speed. Which substance were you talking about? An amphetamine?
Well, ADHD medications are real. I was in seven. I have ADHD bad, especially after head injury. I was in 7 research studies, and they were all different forms of speed at the time. So, by the way, look up Hitler's use of methamphetamine. So there's methamphetamine, okay, and that's a certain molecule, right? And I don't like it. It's way too strong. Okay. Methamphetamine is what they gave to the soldiers in Vietnam when they were going out to kill people. And it lasts for 24 hours. And as they said, doctor, you could hear a cricket shit for 100 miles, for 100 yards away. But I was on the one I preferred was a dextro rotated amphetamine, which means it only lasted 6 hours. It was very controllable. I wasn't up all night, and it wasn't that strong. And my heartbeat didn't go up, and my blood pressure didn't go up. So there are variations of this. But when you make an analog, you have the molecule, and you're going to throw something kind of small on it so it still works. Okay, so let's say you have like maybe the business end of a molecule, and this connects to something, and that's how it triggers. So you want to put something back here, maybe, some carbon molecule, innocuous. It still works, but it's not testosterone. It's not the banned label, right? Does that help you?
Go ahead, Joe. Joe, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. So you were talking about Ritalin and Adderall, basically, right?
Well, I was giving an example of how they're analogs. It's the molecule, but it's a little different because you throw a little group on there. For instance, they took amphetamine and they changed it up enough so Provigil's on the market, and it's so damn effective, and it doesn't make you speed. Listen to this. It's so effing effective that airline pilots and police can take it.
Yeah. I've heard they gave it to the Air Force.
Truckers, anybody on speed, even prescription. If you're a truck driver with an Adderall prescription, you're out of the business. You're gone. Same with cops, because you're gonna do crazy shit and kill somebody, and
Yeah, and that's true about the sound. I like to say you can't spell amphetamine without amp. It amplifies all the sounds.
Yeah, right. But that's what analogs are, do. And so, it's a kind of, in the narcotic business. Well, I remember, what was ecstasy? Oh man, when I was in med school, it was legal, right? But then when they made it illegal, okay, now I'm a med student, I can't take it. They just changed it up a little bit, and they gave you something that was a little less effective, but it still worked, right? Those are analogs.
Yeah, and speaking of which, ketamine, you mentioned ketamine. That was a former club drug, just like ecstasy
Yeah.
was. Do you have any concerns about ketamine? Because it's actually used as a date rape drug by some people, and it's a hallucinogen. Any concerns about ketamine or its overuse?
Well, I did a ketamine study after my head injury. I was, this is what I mean about psychiatry. They're using it in psychiatry. It's amazing, right? So I actually used it. I was working in a headache clinic, and we used it for that as well. That was research. But in Dallas, this is a very pro-business place. Anyway, there's a psychiatrist, and how he uses it. It's very expensive to make. You go pay a pharmacist $25, he compounds it for you, and he's right down the street, and then he delivers it to the doctor. It's intranasally. So you sit on a couch, it's nice and warm, you get a cover, and a psychologist there with you, right? And you do however many shots you're supposed to do, and then you lay back and have a great trip. And therapeutically, it is a breakthrough drug because of one factor. But sure, you might have. Well, from my days, son, as a young kid, this is before I was 18 and legal. I noticed everybody dropping the LSD. They all come back with one thing. They kind of figured this isn't all that there is. There's something else beyond here. So that's kind of the deal. You kind of get the fact that there's multiple things that you're not thinking and multiple ways of thinking, but the big effect is it's a super promoter of neuronal growth. So, man, oh man, your dendrites, your axons, they just blow up like you're a kid. They're just growing, right? So not really. You have to get it by prescription, and you have to have a depression that you've taken 3 drugs minimum, probably 5. Okay, well, this is a resistant depression, and it's a nasal spray. I don't know what's. I think that, by the way, the nasal spray I think is kind of brand new, but I'm pretty sure that they are really against. Look, if you abuse their drugs and you overdose, then they got to take their drug off the market. So they're really careful with all this. I don't know how they do it, right? But
So you're just against use of it in an uncontrolled, unregulated environment.
Ketamine? No. Well, I mean, no. I mean, what if you have a bad trip and you don't have? I used to always have a trip sitter. Someone who would babysit you when you're having a bad trip. Bad trips are not fun. But I've had to trip sit people and say, okay, come on, whatever. No, it's incredibly dangerous. You have to have a professional who knows exactly what the hell is doing, how to talk somebody down, the whole 9 yards. I mean, yeah, of course it's serious as hell.
Okay.
People with LSD really did jump off buildings thinking they could fly.
You have to move on here, Joe, if you don't mind. I hope we got your questions answered.
Sure.
Elvin, you're next. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, just to say you were talking about ketamine, and I appreciate the micro doses or the small doses that would be given to in medical environments. But at the moment where I live, which is, I don't just fill you in, I live in the capital of Ireland, Liverpool.
I got that one, son. I understand completely. In fact, I do know the names, the first names of the Beatles.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, there's a bit of a ketamine epidemic going on in Norway. Yeah, mostly around the under 18s. I have seen work on this that says, continued unregulated use can cause some serious mental declines. I saw this. There was a documentary I watched. This guy, he wasn't a stupid lad. He was in his late 20s, so mid to late 20s. He wasn't stupid. He made it to college. He dropped out the first year doing some ketamine and stuff. He couldn't. The neurologist asked him to name as many things that start with the letter P in a minute, and the guy got about 15 seconds in. And before he ran out of things that began with P, and this is a bright lad, and this was extended and a continuous use of ketamine. So I don't think it's. It's just I've taken it. I'm not prude. I took it in the past. Yeah, I won't take it again. But it's also used as a filler for ecstasy as well. So if you buy ecstasy on the streets, you'll able to get a fair bit of ketamine in there as well, just as a filler. You get a certain amount of MDA and then a certain amount of ketamine in as well.
Yeah. So, do you want to comment?
I'm just saying. I was just saying it's not. I can see it might have beneficial or benefits under strict medical control, but it's not. It's not harmless.
No, so a psychologist who studied this stuff, she PhD, she was running a psych ward, but it was an emergency psych ward. Okay. And yeah, she turned me on to the research and I watched the video. That's not so good. Yeah. Did you say someone went to a urologist?
Yeah. It's not psychological damage; it's neurological damage.
I know. Yeah, they all have problems with their bladder. That's one thing. But yeah, it's here's the rule, right?
I mean, a clue is when you take it, your balance goes.
Yeah, it's there's problems. So ready?
Yeah.
Here's the big question I ask myself all the time. Coming from Texas, we have some people who are very smart here, and some that are not. When does the brain complete its process of growing? When is it complete? What year?
I think about 18, isn't it?
I'm gonna say 25.
25, 26. And that's the problem. So I think, well, let's talk about, well, I don't, if I had my druthers, no one would be taking anything till their brain's completely formed. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got to take it. No, you can't drink until you're 26. Yep. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. But you'll be normal for the rest of your life. But, screw. Yeah. An 18-year-old kid has half a brain. They're not making good decisions. Of course, they're doing stupid things. Okay. I don't think people should drink at 20. I guess in Texas, they went it up to 26. When I first got here, you could drink in your car, by the way, open beer rule. But then they went up to 21. Okay. So that's for the alcohol. And you could get CBD products at 18, but now they just moved it up a month ago to 21. I still think that might be too early. But look, it's just a matter of neurology. This is not good. I mean, if you're under 26, you make stupid decisions. If you're under 20, you're a complete clod. You're full of testosterone and you're stupid. And this is not going to end well. Ketamine, that's, okay. So my third book, which is still in the beta stage, I recovered down at the bridge in Dallas, Texas. So I had a lot of homeless friends that I wrote about them, and it was great as a doctor because you could see it was like working in a big psych unit, But I got 2 chapters on Hilo, which is this beautiful woman I love, but she would be doing the fentanyl. She would doing well. She wanted a downer, and it was always fentanyl because there wasn't any Percodan around. It was always supposed to be Percodan, which they love, but it's always fentanyl. Or she was doing speed, and they would do the methamphetamine, burning it on the aluminum. It's just it's just so incredibly. Drugs are incredibly destructive. Fentanyl's incredibly destructive. It's at least 10 times more powerful than morphine. They don't know what they're doing. A lot of people get on it to get off morphine, but they can't get off of it, and they go back to morphine. It doesn't work because it's like water. So, yeah, but believe you me, I mean, a guy who's dispensing fentanyl, he doesn't want his license revoked, and they make a lot of money with these doing the fentanyl clinics. They make a lot of money. Okay, and they have good results. They have good results. I mean, the thing is, the reason it goes on, they do have good results, especially with PTSD. And in Texas, a lot of people have been in the armed service and they've been over to Iraq and have bombs exploded, and a lot of them have PTSD. So, under strict medical, it's good.
Okay, Charlie, go ahead.
Yes, Dan. Tell me if I'm correct or not, but according to what you said, it appears that the U.S. government will only assure us that a supplement will not harm you, but they do not go any further to assure us that, in fact, the supplements do any good or achieve anything. Is that correct? Their
That
only
is correct.
concern
Let me rephrase
is
that.
that it will not harm you, but there's no assurance as to the effects.
No, they're only concerned with one thing at this point. They only act with complaints. So they're not proactive. They're reactive. If a doctor calls in and says this effect had with fentanyl or something, they can, or this supplement, I don't know, this supplement had this emergency room guide, had this, they'll go look at that, but it's the complaint thing. It's very, very proactive, it's very reactive.
No,
They got a
unless-
complaint, they got to look at it.
Unless complaints are issued, they will marketing of anything called a supplement is okay.
No, it's not their business. It's a food supplement. It's,
So
it's food.
I could market whatever I want.
Pretty much, yeah, until you get caught, sure. And yes,
And that's
there-
called medicine.
what's that?
And people recommend these, but they have
Well,
no
these are-
understanding.
These are
that it has
nutrients. These
cheese
are
in it.
these are these are these are supplements. I mean, come on, look. There's no guarantee it has what it says. None.
None
high-
whatsoever.
No. And statistically, when you look at this, you get 20% has nothing, up to 50%. Okay, nothing. Okay, why should they? Okay, what counts as their marketing department? They don't have to do that, right? Look, I mean, all that. I mean, look, let's not bullshit ourselves, man. I got a marketing degree. It's all about rage. The Oxford Dictionary has a good word from 1920-25. You know what it is?
What?
I think they call it rage click, right? Rage bait. It's clicking on something that you see when you're, because it makes you angry, right? That's how it works nowadays, right? You get someone pissed off, you get them into the story, and you brainwash them. I have friends in the CIA who tell me how brainwashing works. That's how you work. Of course, now, with one exception, there is, the placebo effect, which is important. I mean, some people think it's as much as 30% of an effect, but look, man, this is follow the money. Come on, follow the money. The only way to get around this is to trust your company that makes the supplements, because they got something to lose. Now, Nature's Way, that is in every Walmart, I do trust, because they're the first people to say the new government regulations, we will comply. Meaning, you go to a store, grab a bottle at random, and you submit it to a DNA test. That's astounding, right? They really have to put their money where their mouth is. Or the government's going to say, this is bogus. The money they would lose would be incredible, right?
Okay. All right, we got a question. Okay, we got a question from Bill. All right, Bill, go ahead.
Greetings. I've been
After Bill,
I've
we'll
been
get you.
trying out these vitamins and supplements for the last couple years, some of them, and it seems like the only ones that are kind of worthwhile.
Supplements by evaluating scientific
Can you hear
information,
me now?
stimulating
Uh-huh.
and supporting research, disseminating
Help,
research
help.
results, and educating
Hear
the
me
public. 1997.
Oh, hold on.
New dietary ingredient, NDI. Notifications issued by FDA
Oh, no.
manufacturer Stowe.
Charlie, unmute yourself.
Dietary supplement that contains Andy not marketed in the United States
Let me
before
figure out where
October
this is coming
15,
from.
1990.
Charlie, mute yourself.
1994.
That's not me.
2002. Public Health Security
Hold on, that might be me.
Anti-Terrorism
I can't figure it
Preparedness
out.
and Response Act mandates.
There you go. Someone was saying something?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. So, last couple of years, I've been looking at these supplements and vitamins and all the marketing and all the junk in the the stores. And it seems like the only thing that's kind of worthwhile with all those A to Z vitamins and supplements
Yeah.
is things that help pain, or pain relievers, natural pain relievers, like a turmeric. That's about it. It seems like all this other stuff is overload, just marketing.
Well, let me I like a guy named Dr. Huberman.
Maybe fish oil is good for pain too.
Right. Huberman, I trust Dr. Huberman. I've been following him for many years. He's from Stanton. Is it Stanton in California? He's PhD in neurobiology and ophthalmology. He's pretty sharp. All his stuff is well backed up by research because that's what he does. But he's not so stuck in things that he can't expand. So he will tell you a lot. He'll have a research, but he will tell you pretty accurately what he uses. Okay, and I think you should go to him. I find him really wonderful. Let me see if I can remember. He uses the. Well, let me answer your question. No, there's a lot of things that do work, but you go to Huberman to see what really does work. And the problem with natural products is they're not pharmaceuticals, right? If you take a pharmaceutical, it's going to work, and they spent millions of dollars to make sure it works, right? Supplements can work and not work. Depends on who you are. What's that?
I don't want to have a pharmaceutical. It's all drugs and chemicals.
Well, yes and no, but they work. You know. Look,
but there's too many side effects. I'd rather take a turmeric that comes from a root in the ground.
Well, sure you were, but
a living plant.
Yeah, and this is a little bit of a complicated question because everybody has a different system and everybody responds differently. But yeah, I take supplements. This is a good. Well, I take magne. This is Trace Minerals, nice company. I trust them. But this is magnesium, boron, chromium, potassium. Because I have to drink a lot of water because I have to flush my my bladder a lot. Okay, that makes sense. Turmeric is great. Lots of research on that. They started looking at it because there's not a lot of Alzheimer's in India. What's going on with that? And they realized it was a really good anti-inflammatory, and inflammation is a big component in Alzheimer's, right? So yeah, some things work really well. Just make sure you go to Huberman to make sure you take what he says. Coffee, you bet your ass I drink it. Okay, you drink coffee, you have a 15% reduction in Alzheimer's. 15%. That's a damn good drug. 15%.
How about green tea?
Green tea is what people prefer because it has very good effects like that, but it doesn't get you all riled up like caffeine does, right? And you also have to, if you're drinking caffeine, you have to kind of work this into your schedule. Too late at night, you can't sleep. You wake up and you're feeling okay and you eat your food. And, okay. Well, when you hit that, I'm sluggish, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours, that's when you drink your caffeine. I mean, so all these are a little difficult, but there's supplements work for sure. There's plenty. And for of the counter stuff, I take something called Voltaren, which is great because I work with people's bodies a lot, right? My hands are shot. I've been doing this since '85. My hands are totally shot. Well, it used to be a medication, and now it's over the counter, and it works really well, right? So there's some things that work really well. It's amazing. I put it on every morning, every night. It works. I can actually work with people.
What's Voltaren for?
It's a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory. When you put it on, if you put it on your skin, it goes into your joints. And in 2 hours, it's outside of your body, so it does not harm your kidneys or the liver.
Is it natural? Does it come from a plant? Or
It's a chemical. Look, the problem is I can't work. What the fuck am I going to do? I can't make money. I can't work. Okay. This is a really safe drug.
I don't like synthetics. I don't like chemicals.
Well, then don't take them.
Okay. All right. That's it. We got another question from
America.
All right. We got another question.
From Ernie.
No, actually, we got, go ahead. You're next. Go ahead. Go ahead. You're next. You wanted to go up. So you're go ahead with your question.
Say the person's name, please.
Who?
Go ahead. Introduce yourself and let everybody know what your question is.
Please.
You're on.
Please call the person by name so they know who you're talking about.
I think
You're next. Go ahead.
Most of the people who attend the college complexes are oldsters, at least 65 or older, including me, of course. I was wondering if there's any one vitamin all of us should be taking. Excuse me. Because of our age.
is there one vitamin?
Vitamin.
One vitamin?
Yes, vitamin.
No, I wouldn't say so.
I mean,
Nope, I would no.
no,
Tim, there is no simple there's no simple answers. You can't just I would recommend you walk, sleep, and eat a plant-based diet. But for you, you need to move. That's the best thing you could do. No supplement is going to help you do that. You need to move.
Get off your asses, Americans.
Yeah, no, that's
Get off your fat asses.
for me to walk.
you can't believe how effective walking is. It's just I have chronic pain. I exercise every day. If I don't exercise, I'm in I got to take narcotics. That's the kind of pain. If I exercise, I don't. It's very simple. You got to move. Americans don't move. It's
They sit in
Sleep.
cars. They sit
sleep, movement, plant diet.
Okay. Anything else?
Walk around the grocery store.
You have any other questions?
Come to Texas where our grocery store is about a mile long.
There you go. Walk around
Yeah.
that for an hour.
All right, Jake, you're next, and then we'll go with Joe. Jake, you're up. Okay, Jake. Jake,
Jake, you just
Unmute.
muted yourself.
Jake,
Can you hear
unmute.
me?
You just muted yourself, Jake,
Is
unmute.
Ernie done? Hey, Ernie.
Oh, okay. Now I'm unmuted. Okay. Thank you for your talk. I got a question for you. Why would coffee prevent Alzheimer's? Is it the caffeine or is it something else in the coffee
It's
that does
probably,
it?
here's what's nice about something like coffee. It's a natural coffee/tea. Well, coffee/tea are the most widely used supplement/drug in the world. It's everywhere.
Huh.
And coffee has lots of flavonoids, has lots of antioxidants, right?
Oh, okay.
So that's important. So that black stuff, that's really important for antioxidants. We talked about antioxidants before. Listen, oxidation, inflammation, that is the definition of getting old. Okay?
Huh.
So I don't know if they know the exact mechanism, but it's postulated when you're drinking caffeine, your mind is working, okay? And if your mind is working, you're expanding the neuronal growth, right?
Okay.
And Alzheimer's comes down to this. How many gray matter cells do you have versus how many are getting reduced by the Alzheimer's, right? You got 100 million to start with, and you're losing 50,000 a day, right? The point, the more brain cells you have, the more gray matter, the longer you will be smart, especially with Alzheimer's, right? Does that make sense? It's a matter of addition and subtraction. If you know a second language, your Alzheimer's won't take you away as quickly, right? That's how I view it. that's how I view it. I don't know if coffee's anti-inflammatory. You could go to the NIH, go to the National Institute of Health, but go to the functional medicine part and look it up. I just remember hearing the study, maybe 2 months ago, and I was very excited. Very excited. I mean, I've got my father. I mean, I had a massive head injury, and the forensic psychologist said, "You'll be dead in 5, but in 2 years you'll be full-blown Alzheimer's because your dad had it." Right. So this shit is important, right? I worked my ass off to bring my inflammatory index down. I mean, plant-based diet, absolutely no. Do I indulge? Sure. If you go out to a restaurant, you're going to eat bad food because that's why you go out to a restaurant for. But, I just anti-inflammatory like crazy, right? If I had one of those tubs, those cold tubs, I do that. But I am, the turmeric, I'm very much into the anti-inflammatory thing. And that's another lecture. But yes, I was really glad to see coffee was that effective. There's not even a drug that effective against Alzheimer's. We don't got nothing for Alzheimer's. We're spent, you know what? The 9 companies that try to fix this, 0. I'm watching them try. My father passed 25 years ago. These are big companies with a lot of money. They said, no, we can't figure out what the hell is going on, which of course means to me that their whole medical chemical model is not going to work in this case. Okay. You're going to have to bring other things in. Okay. Like walking and getting a dog and all that kind of stuff. But, I don't know, but I go to Starbucks and I love my coffee.
Is it the caffeine in the coffee? I mean, would decaffeinated coffee have?
I wouldn't even go. No, don't look. Decaffeinated is don't get near that stuff. The fact that they have to make it decaffeinated means that there's all kinds of shit in there that you don't want to get near. It's just a chemical process. As I said, we're used to interacting with the environment for hundreds of thousands of years, and our genetics know that environment. Decaffeinated coffee is the worst thing in the world, right? You just look how they make it. It's just like, you got to wash it with this, and that takes the color, so you got to throw this other dye in there, and it's just astounding. Read ultra processed people, you'll be shocked. The food science is extraordinary, right? I hate to say this, kids, but stupid people die quicker than smart people. Okay, that's just the way it is.
I'm saying, what's wrong with decaffeinated coffee?
It's too over processed. Highly processed food is BAD for you. It's not food.
Oh, okay.
It's a chemistry experiment. It's a chemistry experiment.
I gotcha. Okay.
It's bad.
All right.
And we know coffee works because we've been drinking it for a long time and no side effects, right? But yes, I mean, if you don't, just a green tea is actually a little bit better in terms of you don't get really excited and come down. You know what I mean? Green tea has, I think it's 3%. I think it has 3%, but it has a lot of good side effects. And they've been drinking it. I mean, the proof is they've been drinking green tea in China for 5,000 years, something like that, and they're still doing okay.
There's chemicals in decaf.
Okay, is that it, Jake?
Yeah.
All right, Joseph.
Hope that helps.
Americans would believe in.
All right, Joseph, go ahead.
All right. Earlier, you said that oxidization is caused by a loss of electrons. My question is, do electrolytes help restore or increase electrons?
Well, that's a good question. No, they don't. You want to antioxidants help oxidation. These minerals are a different thing. Okay, they are cofactors in enzymatic reactions, right? Let's see, how do I remember this? Okay, at one point, estrogen, female hormone, is turned into testosterone, right? And there's an enzyme that does that, okay? And then there's a cofactor that does that. I don't know what the cofactor is, all right? This gets complicated, okay? So you got to have that cofactor. But magnesium is a cofactor, and this is actually organic chemistry, and I'd need a big board and a bunch of PDFs. But the point is, mineral magnesium, okay, helps 362 enzymes work. Without magnesium, they don't work.
We
Okay.
have magnesium in the airborne.
Manganese.
So, for instance, you want to get rid of lactic acid in your muscles after you exercise in your legs, because if you don't, you're going to go to bed and have leg cramps. Magnesium helps to take the lactic acid and make it more alkaline, less acidic, right? But you got to have it there to push it in that direction. Does that make sense?
No.
Enzymes do everything.
Okay.
Thanks.
There you go, Joseph. You keep.
Anybody else with any questions? Any questions from the peanut gallery? All right, Jake, go ahead. All right, Jake, go ahead, unmute.
Yeah, okay. My question is, are there any other foods besides coffee that have that are good for antioxidants?
Yeah. This is the model I use. Be a caveman. It's not complicated. We were cave people for a long time. We are genetically prone to be cave people. So we go around eating plants and vegetables and fruit. That's good. Some beans, some nuts. By the way, nuts are great. I eat walnuts with man, it's so tasty. Walnuts have great oils in them. Look, the bottom line is it's a little complicated. You're gonna have to do some research. Walnuts are really good. I always remember this because walnuts look like brains. Walnuts have a certain amount of fats. Those fats are really important. Fats make hormones, estrogen, testosterone. Okay, all fats aren't bad. I need testosterone. I need these things, right? So walnuts are really good. They're anti-inflammatory and they have good fats. Okay, and I eat them usually with some raisins at night because it gives you. The walnuts have protein as well. So the sugar's there because the raisins, and the walnuts there because it has some protein and the good fats. Okay, just like. And I don't want to make this overly complicated for you, but thank God, Chat GPT, right? Okay, so I like coconut oil or coconut milk. Okay, not oat milk, because if you go to oat milk makes cows fat. That's what it does. Makes horses fat. That's what it does. Okay, I don't eat that anymore. Okay, because it just makes you fat. It's just carbohydrates. Why would you do that? You need if you're going to err on the side, go proteins. Okay, so coconut oil have medium chain triglycerides. Okay, the brain eats ketones, glucose, which is a 6-carbon sugar, and ketones, 6 carbon sugars, and medium chain triglycerides, not full chain triglycerides, because those are going to clog you up. Medium chains. That's what the brain eats to function. The brain takes 20% at least of your energy. 20%. Tiny little box here. And it really needs, it really burns up calories, right? At my age, if I work hard on a project, I got a headache, right? And by the way, you know what my neurologist said? Interesting thing. He said, you want to bring your speech back? Write till you have a headache. You do that twice a day, right? Meaning I was burning up all my glucose. I took a break, ate a bunch of food, and went back to it. But the brain only eats ketones. So that's why I ate the coconut oil. I'm sorry, I got away from your question. What was it? Oh, yeah. I mean, look, you want to be healthy, okay? Eat like a cave person. No highly processed foods. No. Eat. I'm not saying be a vegetarian, but a plant-based. Doctors say plant-based diet if they're sane, because they don't want people looking on saltine crackers to see if there's anything in there that's not that's insane. Okay? But just, eat what we should eat, which is fruits and vegetables. I eat some white meat, okay, chicken. I have no interest in red meat, but, fruits and vegetables and nuts, just like cave people do. Occasionally they catch a Tyrannosaurus Rex. That's okay. You know, sure. Do you understand? We're not any highly, if you look at this Ensure, I brought this Ensure. Ensure is what they feed people in hospitals and in Guantanamo, because 2 of these bottles is a meal and it's got everything in it, but it's the list of things it has. There's 30 things on this. Okay. This is not healthy. Okay. This is ultra processed food. Don't do that. This is a chemical, and you never know how chemicals are going. You eat this chemicals, you don't know how that damn thing's going to react. It's a chemical, right? It's from a plant. It's not from it's from some kind of factory. Just eat like a farmer eats. That would be great. Does that make sense? I mean, there's no real magic here in a sense, but there's so much. I mean, this society is going completely nuts. I mean, look, follow the money, okay?
Pesticides,
The
herbicides.
speaker's from Texas.
Yeah, I heard him say
Well, you bet you are. That'd be correct. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Joe. Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, sorry. So I have kind of a compound question. You probably just answered
Sure.
most of it, but I'm wondering, I agree with be a caveman, meaning no highly processed foods. I agree with you that protein and fermented foods are important, but since fat is better for the brain, why do you say plant-based diet rather than meat-based diet? And do you think there's any problems with vegetables? There's a guy named Dr. Stephen Gundry who warns about lectins in vegetables. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, all things about. Well, let's see, a bunch of questions here. What was the first one? Protein. What was okay? What was the first one?
Why wouldn't you say meat-based diet rather than plant-based?
Okay. And second one?
Do you know anything about harms
Lectins.
associated with too much vegetables like lectins?
Yeah, I mean, let's deal with the meat, because meat has. Okay, if you go to Tokyo and have one of those, or in Texas, you can buy wasabi beef. And these are Japanese cattle that drink beer all day and get massaged. It's totally this is like $45 a pound, right? I can't believe the price, but it's all fat. Okay, that's not the right kind of fat. Okay, that's the fat that clogs your arteries. You just need to move Joe down here where everybody's eating chicken fried steak and they're dying at 50. And that's no exaggeration.
I think you're talking about Wagyu beef.
Red meat is proven to be, it clogs your arteries, period. A little red meat if you want, but it clogs your arteries.
Some people
if you're
say
a caveman, most people that are from Thailand or Singapore, they do eat meat once a week. It's their big treat.
Well, some people say that it's actually sugar that clogs the arteries, and the idea that fat, not sugar, clogs the arteries is propaganda from big sugar, and that fats actually repair the damage in the blood vessels from the sugar.
Haven't heard that.
Okay,
haven't heard that.
Thank you.
Well, when you go to the doctor, they check your cholesterol, HDL, LDL, VLDL. That's what they're looking for, right? No, it just clogs. Look, I mean, there was a thing called Walk with the Doctor. I was with a cardiac surgeon. We walked around North Bay, and he talks to people. Okay, this guy knows he's cutting people up. He's looking at arteries. Fat, meat clogs arteries. It's as simple as that. Lectins, sure. There's some problems with certain kind of vegetables, but in general, I don't see any problems with vegetables. Right? I mean,
all right, Charlie, go ahead.
I don't see any problems with that.
Yes, Dan. Now, there is established field of medicine, science-based medicine, with licensed practitioners and pharmaceuticals that are tested to proven to have some positive effects towards the illnesses. On the other hand, we've had them here at the college, there are other individuals who claim equal status, and they have no credentials or training or background that I can ascertain, and they're claiming equal status as alternative practitioners of medicine. I was wondering what your views are regarding that. And I'm coming from a perspective of skepticism. A long time miss websites such as Quackwatch, but we've had some people here at the college speaking at length on occasion, and I've had somewhat concerns that they were perhaps not quite accurate. What are your feelings regarding this claims of alternative medicine having equal status?
Well, that's a bit of a loaded question. Do you all remember how I started this off here? So I could talking about a specific thing that starts with A. Authority.
Yeah, I remember.
I started that off by saying, I think I have the authority to speak this because I got a solid foundation in how to think from my undergraduate, 2.5 years studying the medical microbiome in a master's level, parasites, virology, microbiology, biome, medical school, and then family practice. And then, family practice, diapers to diapers. You'll figure that out in a minute in your lab. Diapers to diapers, right? And very practical stuff. And then I worked in the industry. When I was in graduate school, I was working at a very kind of elite health store, right? And I learned a bunch of stuff. I still remember all that stuff. But look, follow the money. There are 80, what did I say? It went from 4,000 to 50,000 distributors of supplements. They all can't be right. Look, you have to. This guy, this might be backwards. Huberman. I like him because he backs up what he says, right? Is a PhD. Look, in science, there's a very specific way you got to do something, right? Okay. And that's important because otherwise I could say, oh, by the way, I identify as a donkey. I mean, come on. The world's insane. You have to have, great if they're a naturopathic, whatever. I have a lot of respect for these people, but they need to show me that they understand their science. Okay. Otherwise, you're just selling me a fucking product. That's what's going on. Okay. That's what's happening. Okay. Have I been to yes, I go to an acupuncturist. She was really good. 3rd generation from Mongolia and was a PhD in Oriental medicine. She knew her stuff. She could quote studies. 3rd generation. Okay, I trust that one. But look, people sell things. When you're in the business, you realize who's look, a whole lot of this industry is scaring the shit out of you. Now you got a problem, which you didn't have before necessarily. And guess what? Lucky for you, I got the solution. For $9.99 plus $199, we'll get you fixed. That's the game, man. Right? Is it not the game? I mean, come on, that's the game. That's why I say go to Huberman Labs. At least I trust that guy. Right? It's not easy to get a PhD in the stuff he's doing. And then he's always backing his stuff with this study from this study. I mean, that stuff's really, you can't even read that stuff. I'm impressed. And he's also, what I really like about him is that he's in the field of nootropics, which is brain health. He's also like doing this stuff and saying, I'm going to try this. I'll let you know what happens in 6 months or 6 weeks. Right? I mean, he's a very active participant. Right?
Spell his name.
Huberman.
Spell it.
Huberman. Huberman.
Andrew Huberman.
Out of Stanford.
First name's Andrew.
Yeah.
Okay, I think at this point, we're going to go on to rebuttals. Daniel, you'll get the last word.
Sure. Bring it on, guys.
All right. I don't know if anybody here's got a rebuttal or whatnot. So then, give everybody 5 minutes apiece. You get the last word, Daniel.
Oh, sure.
Okay, Joe, go ahead. You got 5 minutes.
Yeah, so you may wish to take notes on this because I have a lot of thoughts and you'll be free to respond to this. You mentioned how you regulate supplements is that nobody got killed. So I've heard that the standard in regard to vaccines is that it's regarded as safe and effective as long as it kills no more than 1 in 1 million people. I'm wondering if your standard for that is the same or something different. Sorry that that's a question. So one of the disagreements I had is that you said that nobody is researching cures to Alzheimer's, but I'd have to disagree because th there was a study that came out over 20 years ago saying that delta 9 THC promotes neuronal growth. It increases the ability to grow neuronal stem cells into adult stem cells, and it facilitates the connection of new neurons to one another. And you said ketamine also promotes neuronal growth. So I would say that the studies on ketamine and delta 9 THC are those studies. It's just that people are hesitant to say that they're potential cures to Alzheimer's. And I have to push back against if you, I know this isn't a main area of your research, but if you can find the name of an actual person, like the first and last name for me, then I'll admit that people jumped off buildings thinking they can fly. But what I've heard about that is that Art Linkletter's daughter, the host of Kids Say the Darndest Things, his daughter took LSD and then became suicidal and then jumped off a building 6 weeks later because she was suicidal because her father wanted to throw her out of the family. So the reaction to that story is why people thought people jumped off buildings on LSD thinking they could fly. But if you have the name of a person, I'll admit I'm wrong about that. So my girlfriend sells CoQ10, collagen, biotin, turmeric, magnesium, and creatine. If you want to comment about whether you have any thoughts or concerns about that,
Oh,
that'd
you
be
have to go
great.
through. You have to go through one at a time.
Sure. CoQ10 is the main thing she
Yeah,
sells.
that's great, especially if people. Yeah, that's a nice antioxidant. By the way, that's an antioxidant. It does help heart. It does help the heart, and it's a mandatory take if you're on statins. Mandatory. Now, when they were giving out statins right and left in the early '90s, they were depleting people. They were depleting people's cocaine. This is insane. They were depleting people's coenzyme Q, which is giving them heart failure, but their cholesterol is low. So yeah. So nowadays, I hope. Okay. At least osteopaths were in family practice. If you were on a statin, then you had to take a coenzyme Q. Yeah, coenzyme Q is good. It's an antioxidant and it does boost heart. It's an antioxidant. It's good for the heart.
Do you think it could ever be a replacement for statins if you took enough CoQ10?
No, it does. It's a different chemical byway. If you want to take something, hold on there, mister. Don't go away.
Okay, who else has a rebuttal?
Wait, hold on. Oh my God.
Or like
Joseph,
5 minutes?
I thought this was what rebuttal.
Yeah, I didn't know he was going to respond. Sorry. Let me know in 5 minutes.
I guess I don't have time to go through it, but if you want this is why you got to be pretty okay. So coenzyme Q or statins are made from red yeast rice, and I don't want to take statins. They have too many side effects. Rhabdomyolysis #1, but and the decrease of coenzyme Q. But look up red yeast rice because statins were developed from red yeast rice, which is it's a yeast. It's red on rice, I think, right? So that's how they got the chemical. So some people take that and report good results. A long time ago, I took that. It did decrease my lipids. Was there another one?
Is red yeast rice fermented?
I don't know. You have to look. You have to look up.
That's all. Thanks, Tim.
Well,
all right, who's next for the rebuttals? All right, Bill, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. I enjoyed I've seen you do 2 presentations, and I think they're pretty good. And unfortunately, Zoom is not really good quality audio because it breaks up quite a bit. So, and my hearing is not that good. So, it doesn't come. I don't get a lot of it. Well, people probably have a lot better hearing than I do, but that's the problem with Zoom. It's kind of a bad technology glitch where they don't. It doesn't. Speech over the internet doesn't come out very clear. Anyway, to prevent that, unfortunately, this club has gotten away from graphics, charts, and things like that, and photos. I would appreciate. It's Dan, right? Dan. No.
Yeah, Dan.
Dan, can you hear me now?
You can hear you.
It would be nice. This club has gotten away from charts and graphs and. Go ahead. What?
Not last week, Charlie had plenty.
Yeah, it was the first time in months that we had graphics. Yeah. Now it's just talking heads. So, unfortunately, when talking heads talk, it comes in one ear and out the other, hopefully. But it means a lot to see things in visual. This is a visual society. America's turned into a visual society. And we had a president. The only reason he got elected was for the visuals. Ronald Reagan, every speech he got up that he had some kind of visuals, and that was pre-internet. And it would be nice if you had some, graphics to go along with your nice presentation. And that doesn't just go for you; it goes for a lot of people. A lot of people are lazy. It ain't that hard. All you got to do is go to Google Images. Go to the Google bar, go to images about the subject that you want to talk about, and then have a couple graphics that seem like they're accurate and correct and, pertain to the issue that you're talking about, and just have that go along with your presentation. And it's so much more impactful rather than talking heads. That's it. Just the club here, this organization used to have lots of good video, graphics, charts, things like that.
Oh yeah. Hey, by the way, so I do have graphics. I don't know how to. You'd have to figure out how to get it online.
You just gotta copy and paste it and then send it to.
Just get a PowerPoint together, and we can link it right to.
Okay. Yeah. Well, no, I was actually. Yeah.
All I gotta do is
the beauty about PowerPoint is it hasn't changed in about 50 years.
No,
it's still the basic piece of software. I mean, how many times can you say that it's basically the same thing that hasn't
It's going to
changed?
switch to
What's that?
Father Brown in a little bit, but then I'll bring it back to this just to finish.
What?
They were just talking amongst themselves.
Oh, I don't want to hear it.
Well, no,
go ahead, Mike.
Anyway, the beauty about PowerPoint, when you repeat, is that it hasn't really changed a whole lot in decades. So it's not that hard to copy and paste a photo or graph or chart and put it on a page and do 20.
I shall do that. I just didn't know. Okay.
It's not just you. All the speakers here. Everybody just wants to sit here and blah, 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 blah for an hour.
Yeah, PowerPoints are easy, and yes, I agree. This is a visual
society. It's just the way it is.
I actually went back to get an AA in radio, TV broadcasting, and spent a lot of time in the visual department. So yes, I know how important visual literacy is. Absolutely.
Okay, is there anybody else that has a rebuttal? Going once, going twice. Okay,
Yeah.
Go ahead, Charlie.
Is anybody else?
Nobody else. Go ahead, Charlie.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Dan for giving us some insights on supplements, which is a big field out there.
It's huge, complicated.
Yeah, it seems to be an enormous investment in people. It appears that supplementing your diet, it seems to be appropriate. It's not going to cause harm. I wonder if it's having any positive effects, however. I've had some concerns about the status of people claiming to be equal of science. There's only one truth in the world, in the world of science. And to say that there's a subject now, as a subject matter, called the state of the art and so forth, that they claim that there are parallel bodies of truth, if I convey that in some fashion, and that doesn't exist intellectually. There's only one positive diagnosis and prescription of things to be done regarding illness, and not some other one out there that apparently doesn't have rigorous standards of testing, uh, which is the requirement for pharmaceuticals and so forth. That's what I mean. I've had some concerns because we've had any number of speakers from alternative medicine, and I will make an assessment that I had to question whether or not they had any qualifications whatsoever. Such as one individual was, you know, charged by the government for practicing medicine without a license. So that's what I mean. I think it's good to be concerned about our health, take certain advantage of certain things that are positive supplements in this regard. Certainly, you know, we have to be cautious though that I see this all the time, each day, advertising of products which are making all sorts of claims, which I don't think these claims can be substantiated. And that concerns me. And apparently, it's a very lucrative
Hell
field
yeah.
of enterprise. And by virtue of the fact that certain products have been advertised over a continued period of time. And I know there are alternative, real legitimate pharmaceuticals that don't come to the attention of the people. I'm also concerned that pharmaceutical companies are advertising drugs. Apparently, you're supposed to request this drug from your physician. I imagine that's the intent of these advertising. Basically, the programming is, the commercials are, if you have this illness, you should be taking this drug. And I presume people go at their next visit and try to solicit a prescription from their physician to get that drug. I don't think that's ethical marketing or the way medicine should be practiced. I find that rather peculiar. But as a matter of fact, years ago, I don't seem to recollect that licensed prescription drugs were advertised. But this seems to be a new case whatsoever like that. Now, the other thing, I know many people, we've had some good speakers on health issues. One of them a few years ago, who indicated, there was a group indicating that if you have an appointment, this has happened to me once or twice, you spend, they said you on average only 1 minute and 39 seconds meeting with the physician. They called it, I guess that was the insurance companies were mandating this gatekeeper type, they call it, to see maximum number of patients. The other thing is people, when they go to see a doctor with an illness, unless they get a prescription,
Right.
people will feel cheated. And that's not necessarily always the case. There could be milder supplements, which probably could maybe could be just as effective. And there's no need for a prescription drug in that regard. Anyhow, thank you very much for lending us some insights into a very important element of our lives. I'm somewhat concerned that there are people out there who are alleging to be practitioners of health and healing, and they don't seem to have any regard that you have to really. I'm one that believes in institutional learning, as you can tell, hosting the college. And I believe, yeah, you have to get credentials in certain fields and for very good reasons. The field of health has had in the past in particular, various snake oil type salesmen like that. And it's a field that people in poor health are willing to try anything, I would imagine.
Well, that's very true. Yeah,
Yes,
that's
and
it.
they're
Yep.
easy prey to the salesman, or someone facing a life-threatening situation uh, will be easily victimized. But I thank you very much, and please come again. I don't care if you have charts or not. I was able to understand everything you said because I've been kept my brain up, and I don't need charts. Thank you very much.
Hey, listen, guys, this is really fun. I hope I pissed everybody off. That would be good. Maybe you're thinking, but Charlie, I have whatever you just said now. I completely agree with it. Completely.
All right, Jake, go ahead. It's our last rebuttal.
I hope presentation enhance it.
Go ahead, Jake. You got to unmute.
Fucking idiots always think.
Yeah, science is always relative. The scientists who are arguing with each other for all the time. There've been scientists who've been scientists who've been competing with each other for centuries. Possibly one of the most famous ones between what was his name? Tesla and I forgot the other guy's name. Direct current versus what?
Edison.
Yeah, Edison, right. Between Tesla and Edison, direct current versus alternating current. Doctors and medical researchers debate each other all the time too. So one guy's truth. Also, some cure that works for one person is not necessarily going to work for another person having very similar illness or similar symptoms. It's all individual. And to say that the supplements aren't aren't scientifically valid, that's the thing that the pharmaceutical companies push because they're busy pushing drugs on you. Again, one medication for medication that works for one person is not going to work for another person, and vice versa. Sometimes nutritional supplements work better for one person than the prescription drugs. So it's Plus, you have to take into consideration, we have some very good doctors. We also have some doctors out there who don't know what they're doing half the time, and then we've got just about everything in between. So that to me is all relative. It's an individual thing, and again, some things work for one person, they don't work for another person.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
It's not ridiculous at all. It's all relative.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I don't want to hear it.
There's one body of truth in the world.
Go ahead, Jake. Finish, Jake.
Truth is relative, and Einstein said the same thing too.
Oh, that's absolute. It's Peter lie.
No, he didn't. He didn't say truth was relative. Said time was relative.
Okay, Jake, are you done?
Yeah.
All right, Dan, go ahead and give your final remarks, Daniel.
Well, this has been really fun. Thanks everybody for listening. I hope you get something out of that. Follow the money. Yes, everything is about, especially the internet, a very confused society. Follow the money. I don't believe very much at all. I wanted to see improved. Yeah, there's a lot. I do use new supplements. It's just do it with educate yourself. Fish oil, for instance, I think is great. But if you buy fish oil supplements and they've been sitting in, what you don't know is going to bite you in the ass. And they've been sitting in a warehouse in Texas, the batch is ruined. And you don't know it because you don't taste it because you swallow it and it opens up in the colon. But fish oil that gets spoiled is worse than regular stuff. My point is, it's very complicated. And I hate to say that, but it is. So do your own research. I still say sleep 8 hours, make sure you're dreaming. You got to, you don't have to exercise, but you have to move. It's very important. Plant-based diet. Nobody's going to have, if you have a plant-based diet, you're shitting yourself 3 times a day. I mean, it's just, you're going to clean out your colon. It's good stuff. And yeah, use supplements for sure. I do. But just make sure you go to someone who's like Huberman, who says, maybe here's the 5 that I use. On the other hand, when you get into it, there's other fields like nootropics, okay, which are brain functioning, and that's a whole different thing, right? So it is complicated. I am glad there's the NIH alternative medicine kind of thing. They break it all down to you. Don't take my word, just go look, right? Yeah, and the straight NIH papers, you'll never figure those things out. But I'm really glad that you can go to someplace and figure this out yourself.
Okay, with that, we're going to adjourn the college tonight. It's a little early, but I will say thanks to everybody. You have a good day.
You have graphics when you do.
All right, and you have a good night, everybody. We're going to stop the recording now and have a good night.
Thanks, guys. This is really fun.